A short video for an explanation of the particle structure of powders that you will create from crystal formations of certain types of crystals that hold knowledge and information regarding the original form. So let's say, for instance, we're dealing with a fern leaf and the segmentation of the fern in its leaf structure. Basically, particles that are ground to a certain size under fluidity and manipulation and under the knowledge of its own memory, when it forms into its solid structure, it will always remember the structural form that it was in. So a segment of a segment will be a structural segment that it remembers how to create. Now, particles of, let's say, crystal are particles of crystal. But of course, the information that's in the crystal, if there is a biofluid of electric that can communicate with the information that's in the crystal. Now, with the crystal being ground to a powder of a certain size, when you bring that liquidized powders together, they would form the same structure of segmentation within the leaf. Now, it may form a segmentation just inside the layers themselves, rather than form an actual leaf shape. So it may remember that it requires a separation, and then another segmentation with a separation and another segmentation. If it has that in it, then you're going to be able to naturally put these segments together. If you have to create it, though, by using powders and then using another substance to segment it off, so they will separate in each segment under manipulation. And then obviously you can then write in molecular memory for it to always form in those structures. When it comes to energy, though, and energy structures, they will also hold vital bits of information relating to its own structural use. So let's say, for instance, that we have an energy structure which is in bio liquid, or a man-made manipulated bioliquid, working with other structures that would have been living cells but are now crystalline. It would then use the routes that it would take naturally under its own structural current flow. So it would use the very same structures. Now this in itself may cause the solidification to have segmentation in it naturally because of these current flow runs that it would actually create. Now, of course, under manipulation, you might be able to run a current across a certain structural path or a three-dimensional shape to be able to build a three-dimensional structural gel, like you see in the IBM new cell structure, where they have put all of this stuff together and it forms that hexagon shape with an outer casing of a gel around it, and basically forms structural links with one another until it builds this row of hexagons. Now, when it comes to buckyballs and carbon, buckyballs and carbon will probably automatically settle down amongst themselves and create a solid anyway, naturally. If it's a buckyball with a powder, let's say, and we need to have it in a liquid of a gel, and then it needs to be agitated to be under electrical current, either flow or electrical current generation. we can then use the resonance of certain resonances, because there are certain resonances which will create energy. Now, resonances will behave in many different forms. So we need to sort out all the resonances that create energy, build a connection to the resonances that create energy, highlight the various structures in nature that uses this energy, and then try and find the relevant crystal source that would be interested in that energy source. So because we've got different energy structures that rely on vibration or resonance to create energy, there is always something in creation that will go with it. And it's always something solid, and it's always something probably plant-based, or maybe ocean-based, or it might even be cellular structure of a creature like a cuttlefish that basically has a cellular structure. It has all of its necessary biological components to be able to create all of those patternations and all of its light show. And also with the bioluminescence all hooked up together in one flesh. And of course, using the cuttlefish brain communications, which is another bioelectric response, it then can activate every single part of the cells in its body. So this is the kind of structure that we're looking for to complete the project for liquid energy.